Okay, let's start. This is lecture 24 for incident response technology. So it's almost the end of the class. Next week, we will have one class. Then after that, probably we'll have another one class, and that's it. So we will have one lecture or 1.5 lecture. So maybe not enough for 2 lecture time content. So that's close to the end. One student asked a question, where I need to download Nessus in VM. Well, Nessus, you can go in virtual machine. You can, in my slides, I show that you can download and install Nessus in your Kali Linux. For Windows, for other virtual machine, you just go to browser and Google search for Nessus, and you can find it and download the corresponding Nessus for your operating system, like for your Windows 32-bit operating system or 64-bit operating system. I think the virtual machine we have from Microsoft, they all support 32-bit. In Windows 10 VM, you just use the Windows 10 VM browser and go to Nessus, Google search Nessus download, and you should be able to find where to download Nessus. So it is okay if you run Nessus in your virtual machine. It will be a little bit slower, especially in the initialization part. But it is perfect fine if you install Nessus and run it in your Kali Linux or in your Windows VM. Okay, let me see. And just to remember, this homework 4 is due this weekend. So make sure that you do it as early as you can. So let's first finish the offline password cracking. So last time we introduced we demonstrate how you can do offline password cracking to Windows machine. You basically first compromise that the Windows machine, like Windows XP, using the meter-preter shell. Then in the meter-preter shell, you can use this command #dump to dump the password, corresponding password hash value for all the account in that Windows machine. Like this is dumped, like one user two was what I created in last class. IE user is a default user account. And of course, the Windows all have guest account. Of course, for most Windows, guest account is disabled, but the account is still there. So once you download the hash, you copy it into a text file. For example, you copy it into a text file, then just keep the account that you want to crack the password. Because there could be many system accounts, especially for Linux. There could be a lot of system accounts. For those, there's no need for you to find a password because they don't support any login. So even if you find a password for those system accounts, you cannot log in. So just delete all the lines, just to keep the lines that have the account that you want to crack the password. Then you simply use the John that hash value text file, and the John can automatically detect which operating system this hash value belong to, then use that corresponding hash algorithm to do this password guessing. And it can find the password very quickly if the password is in the dictionary list. If it's not in the dictionary list, then you cannot find it. But you can use very large dictionary. In addition, John is the logic is very simple. It doesn't guess a plain text password. It just pick a password from this dictionary list one by one. But there are some other password cracking software where they not only can grab a password from a dictionary, they can also do a mutation on that potential password and try the mutated string for the password. So even if the user's password is not in the dictionary, you can use those password cracking software, and they can sooner or later they can still find the password for those accounts. Because it's offline password cracking, it can test millions of passwords in very, very short time, in a matter of minutes. So this is for this. Let me see what's your student question. One student say a way to get around the drop in virtual machine performance is allocate more core to the VM. So that is true. For example, when you go to a virtual machine and go to setting, you go to the system. For Windows XP, the base memory is 500 megabytes. So that is enough for our Windows XP because we are not running any software on Windows XP. And another is its processor. So on my computer, on my laptop, we have 8 CPU, 8 core. Most of your computers should have 4 core, 8 core, or even 16 core. So that is how many core in your CPU, and you can allocate more CPU to your virtual machine. So one is allocate more CPU, another is allocate more base memory. But base memory will eat up your internal memory. So if your computer only have 4 gigabyte memory, then you probably cannot allocate like a 2 gigabyte memory to your virtual machine. For example, the Kali Linux, I think its default base memory is 2 gigabytes. That will make it run very fast. But if you only have 4 gigabyte memory in your computer, you probably need to reduce it to 1 gigabyte in order to leave some memory for your host OS. And for my computer, on my computer, the Kali Linux, the default CPU core is a 2 CPU. So you can increase or decrease depending on how much resource you have. So that's the basic 2 resource that you can adjust to make your virtual machine run faster or slower. For example, if you run Nessus on your Windows 10 virtual machine, and the Windows 10 is not used together with Kali Linux or some other virtual machine, then you can allocate more memory, more CPU core to your Windows VM, Windows 10 VM to make it run faster. Okay, so next we do this for Linux machine. So we demonstrate that for Linux. This is a Metasploit. Metasploit, the password is in this etc folder. Basically, it has 2 password files in all the Linux machine. They have 2 password files. One is this passwd. You can see there are a lot of system accounts. The only user account we created is the last one, CIS6395. And we can create more user accounts to this one. So you can use add user or user add. Either command is fine. Add user or user add. We can add so let me go find out the dictionary list. CD. The default. It's not the John's default password is not in that directory. Is in. USR share John password. Okay. So if we want to see how many password is in this dictionary list, you can see that you can use WC-L. WC is word count, -L means how many line. So this is a small dictionary. It has a 3,000 type of password. So if I show tail basically show the last 10 line of a text file. So this is like suppose I create account on the Metasploit user like user one, for example, add user one, only root. Okay, sudo. Let me change to root MSF. But so you can only add a user when you are changing to the root account. You can use sudo in Metasploit Linux and change to the root account. This is because MSF admin account actually has the root privilege, so you can simply change to root account without any problem. So it's add user. Suppose we say user one and enter new password. Suppose we just use the last few passwords in the dictionary list, like DIRK. So the other I don't enter anymore. Yes, correct. Then we add another user two, like not used. Okay, so if you now see the password, you can see that user one, user two is added, but this password file doesn't have the hash value for the password. It only has the account, other information like account name, user ID, group ID, and the home directory information. The actual hash value of the password is in this shadow file. Shadow is a file under the etc. So this shadow file actually contains the hash value for all these accounts. Like you can see CIS6395, user one, user two, they are here. So let's demonstrate that. In my slides, I directly copy the password, but I will still do compromise to do that. So in my slide, I show that they are in this password and hash, and suppose we don't follow the slides, we do compromise, direct compromise. Because compromise at Kali Linux is very easy. There are a lot of direct compromise to the Metasploitable Linux machine. The most well-known one is this one, so I will just use this one because this is excellent. So I will just use this. Oh shoot, this one is not good because this one doesn't support. This one doesn't support hash dump because it doesn't support meter preacher payload. But without meter preacher payload is also fine. We can copy. Let me try. Without meter preacher should be still okay. So we can just show the shadow file. shadow file has a password. We can just directly use that. Set our hosts. The Metasploit IP address is 2.5, 10.0.2.5, and there is no option for that interact payload, so we can directly compromise. Okay, this command shell session 1 opened. So you can run Unix command. So you just go to etc folder, then you can cat shadow, just to show that the etc shadow file. So this is the hash value. So you can basically copy this text, MSF admin. Suppose I want to copy this text down. Copy selection, then Linux hash. So I copy this text, the hash value into the text file. And then I remove all unrelated accounts, like what is that? Oh, let me leave more account here. I don't know if the FTP account can get the password or not. So let's just keep this. So this is Linux hash. Now we can use the John on this one. And you can see that it finished also very quickly. It's still less than 1 second. Remember this user 1, user 2 password. I used the password in the tail of the dictionary list. So that means within this, I think it doesn't show how many minutes it finished the cracking, but I just feel it within just a half second, this John has finished more than 3,000 passwords. Remember, because user 1, user 2 is the last few password in that dictionary list. That dictionary list has more than 3,000 passwords. So you can see it can still find dark and not used password. CIS6395 is what I created before. And MSF admin, the password is also found out. User password is user. So that is another, you can think that is another vulnerability for the Metasploitable Linux virtual machine, because this user account has a very weak password. The username and password is the same. But it didn't find out password for the FTP account and my SQL account. So you can see so I don't know if I use RockU, whether RockU can find password for these two or not. I haven't tried that yet. So you can simply just, even if you don't have the hash dump command, you can still simply copy the shadow file and dump and use John to do the cracking. In my slides, I show that, well, you can use this so-called command on shadow to combine password and shadow file together. When you combine them together, then this this file will have both the hash value and also the home directory, those information, because normally a password file contains username, user ID, and home directory, what shell you're going to run, so those information. The shadow file only contains the user account and hash value. If you do this unshadow command, these two will be combined together. And so you, but for the John, this cracking software, you don't need to combine them together. You can simply work it on the shadow file. It takes 30 seconds to crack the two account. Actually, you might try. It takes just 1 second. I don't know why this this slide was created last year. So I don't know why it took so long. But okay, any question for this offline password cracking? So we showed for Windows and for Linux. We haven't showed Macintosh. So if attacker really use John, they will use this RockU password file because RockU has so many passwords in it. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is the Armitage. Oh, we don't have any more homework. Oh, the student asked, are we going to have any other homework besides the final exam? The answer is no. So there is no homework anymore. So we have overall 4 homework, 1 midterm and 1 final term. So final exam, you can treat final exam as the a little bit bigger homework. Basically, the final exam is not covering everything. It covers the content that has not been covered by homework 4. So homework 4 covered reconnaissance. And so after reconnaissance, those content, we haven't put it in any homework assignment. So this final exam will cover the content, basically the scanning, this exploiting, online password cracking, offline password cracking, just this content. Okay, let's move on to the Armitage. So Armitage is I give this subtitle, but basically it's a Metasploit GUI. So Armitage is, in its core, it's actually still use Metasploit software, but it add an out layer to make it easier for user to use. And machine gun style attack, I will explain why it's called machine gun style attack. Again, from this reference book. We know that a Metasploit has the following features. First, you need to know what vulnerability you want to exploit, because you need to search for that vulnerability, then you use that attack module. Once you find attack module for that particular vulnerability, you use that attack module. So in order to use Metasploit, it means that you need to do scanning and information gathering beforehand. You need to know what vulnerability exists on the target machine. So it's a pinpoint attack to a specific target. So in analogy, we can call it as a sniper gun. So 1 bullet, 1 kill. You have clear target. You know what kind of bullet can kill the target. Just like you Metasploit, you know what kind of attack module that you can compromise target. You load that corresponding compromise module, attack module, and use that. Just like a sniper gun, you have different type of bullets for different targets. And so, and also it is a command line based attack. So everything is in command line, even though we demonstrate that it's not that hard to use it, because you only need to remember very few commands, less than 10 commands. Once you remember them, then you can use it without any difficulty. So advantage for Metasploit is that it's stealthy. You only generate attack traffic to that specific vulnerability, to that specific target. You are not generating attack to the blindly of a range of IP address. In addition, you can make some advanced configuration to enable like a stepping stone attack, because remember when you suppose you try to compromise a target, once it's compromised, you can select a payload. Even for meter pre shell payload, you can do direct connection or reverse connection. You can also do this reverse TCP connection to another computer. So attacker can attack from one computer, then set up this listening service on another compromised computer to receive this TCP connection, to receive the remote desktop connection. So in this way, even if the victim detect that their computer has been compromised, then they find out what his ongoing connection is. They can only find the third computer. They will not be able to find the attacker's computer. So there are some other configurations that can make this attack very flexible for the attacker to do. Of course, the disadvantage is that you need to know the vulnerability beforehand. So you need to information gathering and scanning very well before. In addition, it's still command line operation. So some user may not be accustomed to this kind of Linux usage. So that's where this Armitage comes by. Armitage is provide user-friendly attacking tools. Originally, it is pre-installed in Kali Linux, but you can install it very easily, because even though right now it's not in the Kali Linux virtual machine, it is in the Kali Linux App Store. So you can use apt-get install to install it very easily. And it provides a graphic user interface front end for the Metasploit. So you can just like operating on Mac computer or Windows computer to use it. And it's we call it machine gun style attack. I would demonstrate why it's called that, because you can spread out a lot of attack traffic to the target, and hoping that one of the attack module will compromise the target. So it would generate a lot of noise, but it make it easier for the attacker. So you no need to specify a detected vulnerability. You just, after you specify target, Armitage can conduct pulse scanning to target, then through all known exploit module to the target based on the scanning result. So it's like a machine gun. Of course, the disadvantage is also very clear. First, it's machine gun style, so it's very noisy. So it can be easily detected by any security staff. And in addition, you cannot change some configurations, so it's hard to do stepping stone attack. Armitage, after 2020.3 version, it's not pre-installed anymore, but you can install it by yourself. Just use this app update. First, you update your app store software, then you use apt install Armitage, and you can install it. For my computer, what's your question? the student asked, is there a way to slow the speed of the machine gun attack so not so quickly, so less noisy? That's a good question. The Armitage menu, this Armitage is a graphical user interface. Its menu doesn't provide any configuration that how much traffic is allowed to send to a target. So I need to do some Google search. Maybe in its configuration files, there could be some configuration parameter you can set that up. But in this software menu, there is no such option to do that. For Armitage, you can directly run from command, or you can use the menu, go to, let me see, exploiting tool. Use the Kali Linux menu, exploiting tool. So these are exploiting tool, like this Metasploit, you can click this to start Metasploit. You can use command, say MSF console to start Metasploit. This Armitage is also here. So you can run directly from there or run from the command. Armitage, you can see that it's actually programmed in Java. So first, it has this interface. It seems it connects to a backend database because the host is localhost. So we just connect. A Metasploit RPC server is now running, so we need to start the Metasploit RPC server. Basically, start the backend Metasploit program. It starts in the server format. And it gives me a warning. So I actually showed in the slides. So if this warning show up, it just means that you need to start this service, because it seems when you start Linux, this post GRE SQL, this SQL based server is now started by default, but this Armitage require you to start this SQL server in the backend first. So you can just use this whatever showed in the command. You just start it by typing this one, service post GRE SQL. I have run as a MSFDB init before. Remember, if you don't run it, your database search in the Metasploit may have some problem. So right now, I only need to start this post GRE SQL service. So I just you just run this command, service post GRE SQL. You can check its status, whether this service has been started or not. Then you can see that it shows this one is inactive. So right now that service is inactive. You can run this service command, start this service. Right now, if you check its status, then you can see that this PostGRE SQL, the status is active. So we have started this one. Now we restart Armitage. Connect. Yes. You can see connecting to database. That's why it needs this PostGRE SQL to start. So this is Armitage, this interface. My computer screen is a little bit small. Okay, I think on the video you should still be able to see. So this is interface for Armitage. So it's a graphic user interface, and it has two windows. The bottom window is a command line, basically show whatever command line is actually running by the Armitage in the background. Remember, Armitage in its core, it's still running Metasploit. So it actually generates command line to run Metasploit and run Nmap to do scanning. But you can use this menu and mouse to do all these operations. So in this run, if you want to, it's better you can run all three virtual machines together. Then Armitage can try to compromise both virtual machines. However, if your computer has limited resource, for example, then you can run Armitage by only run two virtual machines. One is Kali Linux, another is either this vulnerable Windows XP or the vulnerable Metasploitable Linux VM. So you can just run one target with Kali Linux VM to do this experiment. But actually, at your home, you have more option. Like if you are doing this in your home, you can set all your virtual machine in bridge attack mode, then run Kali Linux on one computer, on one laptop, run the Windows XP and Metasploitable Linux VM on another computer in your home. Because once you set up all the VM as bridge adapter mode, then all of them will get IP address from your home Wi-Fi router. So then all the virtual machines, they are basically in the same local line as your home computer. Then you can do this attack within your home computer without any problem. It will not, the attack traffic will not go out. So it will still be safe to do the testing. You can use two computers to do the testing. So one run Kali Linux, another computer run these two vulnerable virtual machine as a target. Because right now at the school, I can only run in this network mode. Otherwise, the VM, the virtual machine cannot get IP address. So first, you add the target in this top window. The top window will basically show what target you can contact and try to compromise. So you can use this scan included in Armitage to add a target, or you can manually add a target in. But let's just use Nmap to do this. So host, you can click the host menu, and you can add host manually, or you can use Nmap scan to do like a quick. So we will just do this quick scan with OS detect option. So it's not the fast scan; it's the scan with OS detection. So it's a little bit slower than the normal Nmap scan, but it can find out what kind of operating system the target is. So we can use this quick scan OS detect. Then ask you to enter what's the scan subnet 10.0.2.0/24, because that is you can see my Kali Linux IP address is 10.0.2.4. So the subnet, remember the network mask is this one. So it means that the subnet is only changeable in the last one digit, last 8 bits. And that's why this subnet is /24. So based on the network mask, you can find out what's the subnet for your own network. For example, at your home, you can check what's network mask for your computer, then you know what's a subnet. So 10.0.2.0/24, I will do that scan, then click OK. Then you can see what's the actual command running by the Armitage is this one, nmap and dash version light. So dash version light is a lightweight to scan and find OS version. So that is actually nmap command running in the background. Because it's doing this OS detection, so nmap scan is a little bit slow. You can see this scan complete, and you can see all the potential, all the online target you can in this scan subnet has been added to this window, and so you can see that 2.6 is XP, 2.5 is Linux because my Windows machine IP address is 2.6. My Metasploitable machine IP address is 2.5. So 2.5, 2.6 are those two vulnerable VM running by myself. In addition, in this subnet, there are some other online computers. Like you can see that 2.1 in the VirtualBox. 2.1 is not the default gateway anymore. It's the printer. So OS detection find out that it is a virtual printer. 2.2 is another virtual printer, and the gateway is 2.3, either 2.3 or 2.4. So these are all another two virtual machine emulated by the virtual line, by the VirtualBox. So there's no real virtual machine under them, but they are created by the VirtualBox. So these are the target, basically online target in this /24 subnet. And when you scan complete, it will show this, that you can do scan to do the attack later. In my slide, I say that you can remove uninterested target from the target list to reduce attack noise, because the virtual printer, there's no vulnerability. If you don't want to waste resource on the attacking module or traffic to the virtual printer, you can delete that virtual printer from this target list. Yesterday, I found out that for this VM, Kali Linux VM, I'm running this 2021.2 version. I cannot delete it. If you right-click this host, you can see that you can click this remove host. But in the previous version of Kali Linux, it seems this one works, at least in my previous version of Kali Linux. But in this one, it seems this menu does not work. It doesn't remove the host. And there's no other manual way to remove this host. Because the host menu, you can only add a host. You cannot remove a host. I'm not sure why for this version of Kali Linux, this function does not work anymore. Maybe it's just a small bug. But anyway, these are our other computer. If you run the Kali Linux in the bridge adapter mode in your home, you will find all your home network device here, like your Google speaker, Alexa speaker, like your iPhone, all the smartphone, and also iPad, all the laptop. You will find the list, a long list here in your home subnet. if you run the Kali Linux in the bridge adapter mode. So this is Nmap, you find target. So basically Armitage included Nmap, the scanning function in it. After that, you can try to use this, it says the use attack, find attack to suggest applicable exploit for your target. So this is, let's see. The default configuration, this set exploit ranking is great. It just means that it will only choose attack module that has ranking of great or excellent to be the potential candidate for attack module. So if you do this attack, find attack, it doesn't actually sending out attack traffic. It actually, the option here is basically it try to search its Metasploit database, try to search all the attack module that has the ranking great or excellent to the service run on this computer, Basically, for all the opening service, this find attack is try to find all the attack module that targeting those service. But of course, most of the attack modules, they will not be successful because the targeted service does not have that vulnerability. It's very possible that for example, if the target has a web server, then Metasploit contains maybe more than 100 attack modules on web server. Then all the attack module that is excellent or great, they will be chosen as a candidate. So that's the purpose for this attack, for this function. But this part has some bug. This Armitage, it seems from last year to this year, they still haven't resolved this bug yet. We have to, if you do it, it will finish immediately. It doesn't seem to go through the database. Remember, the Metasploit database has more than 2,000 attack modules. So it's no time. So this one is not working. So one solution some people find out to resolve this is that you set this manual set exploit ranking to be poor. Basically, any kind of attack module will be satisfied as a potential candidate. If you set ranking to be good or great or excellent, it will prevent this attack analysis. So you set this exploit ranking to be poor, and if you run this attack, it actually will go through the database. You can see this menu that it actually goes through the Metasploit database, querying all the database, this attack module entry. So this one is actually the normal way. It's actually finished. Then once it's finished, this one, as I said in the slides, it doesn't generate any network traffic. It only query and search in the Metasploit database. So this one doesn't generate any noise. It's just to go search the Metasploit SQL database. Then after that, every target in the target list will add an attack menu. So it will show all the possible attack modules for that potential service. Oh, another bug in this Metasploit, in this Armitage, is that even if you resolve this, set it poor, on my Linux, it finished without problem because yesterday I have resolved this. But in your computer, in your Kali Linux, it's very likely that this query will stuck at this point with this particular attack module. This sort stack sort. This particular attack module seems to have a bug that prevent this Armitage to finish the searching. Appear to be another bug in the current Armitage. So one solution to go around this is that, well, since this attack module caused it to stuck, why not we just remove this one single attack module, because there are more than 2,000 attack modules there. This one create problem. Let's just ignore it. So you can just use this locate command to find out where this attack module. Remember, you can see the attack module name here once it's stuck. So you can use locate to find out. This is a screenshot what I did yesterday. Locate is basically search for that file name under your Linux file system. That it can find out that there are two files that contain this. You can just use the remove command to remove this attack module. The first one actually is a document, so it doesn't matter that much. But you need to remove the second one, this module, this exploit module. This one caused the Armitage to stuck. So once you remove it, and when you run this find attack command again, this query will go through without any problem. Will go through all the attack modules. So that's just this two bugs that you need to pay attention when you use Armitage. Try to solve. So let me maybe. Once you finish that, we can do individual attack. Basically, once this finished, if you click, you can see there is a attack menu. Because before you do this find attack, when you right-click a target, it only shows this menu option. It doesn't have this attack menu here. But this attack menu is added once you finish this find attack operation. Then attack menu basically means that these are all the example. These are all the attack module for SMB service, because this target machine, this Windows machine, is accepting SMB service, remote file sharing service. So these are all the attack module for Windows SMB service that exist in Metasploit software. So you can see that there are a lot of, these are all the attack module in Metasploit that specific targeting SMB service. But of course, not all of them will be successful on this particular one target. They are for all the Windows SMB service. For example, this one, MS08067, is the one we have demonstrated before, that this one will compromise the Windows XP, the vulnerable Windows XP virtual machine we have. And for Samba service, there are two attack modules in Metasploit that attack this service. Here, just some other attack module. So basically, this find attack is basically doing action like querying the database, get all the attack module information out and put it in this menu. So after that, attacker is right now, that is you can choose any one of these attack modules, try to compromise the target. Suppose I choose this one, and these are the parameter, default parameter for that attack module. And you can choose, by default, it's using this band connection, but you can choose reverse connection. So these are the parameters you can change. These are the parameters already set up by Armitage. So it's easier than using Metasploit directly because Armitage will set up all the default parameters for you. You don't need to change any parameter. You can do this attack. And then you launch the attack. Then this command line showed this attack has been launched. But this attack doesn't create any session. So this attack, you can see this exploit launched. These are the actual commands running by Armitage. So Armitage, when Armitage set up the default parameter, it actually run a script. These are actual commands running by Armitage to execute this MSF console software. And the attack, you can see exploit complete. No session was created. So it just means that that particular one attack module, it is now successful to compromise target. Because even though Metasploit contains like 2 dozens attack module to SMB service, but those are all the attack module for all Windows XP, for all Windows machine, not only for that particular one Windows XP operating system. So if you, but it's still easier than using Metasploit directly because you can try each one of them one by one and try to see whether you can finish and compromise the attack. This one exploit failed. So let's actually make a successful attack because we have demonstrated for Windows XP, we can use the MS08067. This is the attack module we have demonstrated in the Metasploit that it can actually be successful. So we choose this attack module. Then these are the default configuration. You can choose to use reverse the connection or you just use the default. For our VM, because of Windows firewall, Windows XP firewall, we have disabled it. So you can use a direct TCP connection from Kali Linux to Windows XP. However, if you haven't disabled the firewall on the Windows XP VM, then you need to use a reverse TCP connection in order to make this shell to be set up successfully. And actually, you can change some parameter like a show advanced setting. So these are the settings that you can change. And if you don't show advanced setting, these are the basic parameters set up. For example, the local port, if you want to change it, you can double click and change the value. Like, so you can still change the default parameter by yourself, just click and change. It's all mouse operation. So let's just use the default configuration and launch an attack. And you can see something happened here. This machine has changed the icon. It changed the icon to be red colored and also has a lightning bolt. So this icon just demonstrates that this computer has been compromised. Because from this command line window, you can see this command line window, this meter session 1 is open. So actually it has set up a meter preset session. And if you right click this target, you can see that there is one menu added. It is the meter preset 1 menu option added. So this is a meter preset session that is created. So it is added to the menu to this host. So we can use this like interact. You can use meter preset shell to interact with the target or you can simply use a desktop VNC so basically in this attack, you can further choose what kind of control method you want to use. So right now it supports command line shell, meter printer shell, or desktop. So let's just choose the desktop option. For desktop option does not work. What's you may need to migrate to new process to set up VNC. So this is some VNC setup problem. So let's just use this meter printer shell. Then you can see this in the bottom window. It created this new command line. It's meter printer. You can run all the meter printer shell command like sysinfo. It will show that it is in the Windows XP machine. And if you kill this process, if you kill this meter printer session, then this computer will come back to the original logo. Basically means that this computer has not been compromised yet, because even though we compromised, the meter printer shell has been closed. So that's what the screenshot here means. So you can try if you don't know which one attack module is good, then you can try all the attack module one by one. Hopefully some of them will compromise target. And this one shows that red lightning bolt. So that means this computer has been compromised. Then you can choose the meter. Yes. Okay.
No, చాలా మంది దెబ్బ పడుతుంది ఇంకా కొంచెం చెప్పుకోమన్నాడు.
Okay, so that is individual attack. This is individual attack. Just means you try each available attack module. Hopefully, some of them will be successful. You can try one by one. And here you try each one is very simple, just a mouse click. You don't need to do any keyboard typing. All the mouse click will be fine. So for example, for this Metasploitable Linux, you can see that there are so many attack modules here. So we tried VSFTPD before. Let's try some others. I don't know this one. This one probably will not be successful. Let's try Telnet. Yeah, that one was not successful. Well, you can see this attack is still going on in the background when you operate. Samba. Okay, so you can see this background. This configuration has some problem. Let's try Samba user map. And right now, this default configuration is using reverse TCP connection. I just launch attack. So this is a new exploit. This previous exploit, no session was created. This new attack. I think this one should be successful, but let me see what attack for Metasploit is Samba Unreal IRCD. So maybe we should try that one. So this one attack is still going on. So it's a little bit slow. Okay, this attack is successful. You can see that this one is red bolted. So even though I don't know why this command line window shows very slowly, but actually this attack is already been successful. This command line window doesn't show that, but we can see this is successful, and this is a shell, created shell. You can interact, you can upload a file, you can, okay, this command line shows the result. Command shells session 4 open. So this command line, the text show up is very slow. It's behind what actually is done. So this shell 4 is created. You can do interact, you can upload files, you can pass session. I'm not sure what that means. So let's just use interact, and you can see what's this. You can cat etc, like etc password. You can see that this is Metasploit Linux. We have these 3 accounts set up, and you can run uname -a to see the system information. So it is the Linux Metasploit 2 machine. And of course, you can disconnect the shell, then it will return back to be uncompromised status. So that's the individual connection. Another attack is called Hail Mary flooding attack. So this attack will basically, because remember, after find attack, you find out maybe dozens of attack modules for a particular target. If you try each one by one, that will take a very long time. But you can try this Hail Mary, then Metasploit will try all the attack for all the attack module on the target. So it's very noisy. It will generate a lot of attack traffic. When I tried yesterday, Hail Mary only compromised the Linux machine, but it didn't compromise Windows XP machine. It's probably because it threw so many attack traffic. The target machine doesn't have any time to respond, doesn't have resource to respond. So some of those attack modules, simply because the target computation resource is consumed, so it doesn't have the correct time to respond. So those real attack module has been missed. So you can try that. It's this one, Hail Mary. Then it gives you a warning. Basically means that you will send a huge amount of attack traffic to yes. Then you can see that it basically just for all the attack module, it queries the payload, find all the possible payload for the attack module. Then it through all these attack module to the target. This part hasn't generated traffic yet. It's just a query this payload database in a Metasploit, just like a find attack option. It hasn't through the traffic to the target yet. And this Hail Mary will attack every target in this target list. So in order to reduce the traffic, it's better to remove this unrelated target from the target list. You can see that it found for this 2.5, this Linux machine, it found 835 exploit. So it will try all these 835 exploit module on the Metasploitable Linux target. So this is actual launch attack. That's why it's very slow. And you can see all these attack modules here. These are all the attack modules for web server. You can see they are all for HTTP service. And for all the service, because the Metasploitable Linux VM has opened HTTP service, FTP service, SQL service, SSH service. For all these service, the Metasploit, this Armitage was through all the attack modules to them. And the ideal case is that both the VM will be compromised by this. And actually, the Linux machine will create multiple shells to it because multiple attack modules have been successful. So you will create multiple compromised connection to the Linux machine. But yesterday, my Hail Mary attack doesn't compromise this Windows XP machine. It's because the Windows XP has very little resource, so it doesn't have the time to respond to this flood of traffic. So the real attack has been missed. I add one last slide summary. The pros for Armitage is that it's easy to use and deploy, and it gives you a very fancy view. You can see that computer become light-bodied, then you know that you have compromised the target. It combines the scanning and exploiting together, so you can do scanning in the Armitage by itself. You don't need to do scanning separately. The disadvantage is very clear. It's very noisy. So if there is any security staff doing security checking, they can easily find you. Secondly, you cannot make some advanced configurations because it just use all the default configuration. You can only change certain parameter, not all the parameter in this Armitage. Okay, so you can see that this attack has been finished. The Metasploitable Linux has been compromised, but this Windows machine has not been compromised. And in this command line, it tries to list all the sessions. So you can see that there are actually 8 sessions opened. All the 8 sessions is the success compromise to this, not 8 sessions. It actually has 2 sessions because the previous session, we have killed them, right? Remember, I operate individual attack. We have compromised those 2 machines. So this session ID will just keep increasing. Right now, it has, if you right click, it has 2 sessions open. It means that we have compromised Linux, vulnerable Linux 2 times by using Hail Mary, but we didn't compromise this Windows machine. But you can use individual attack and try to compromise this one. So it just means that Armitage, sometimes it will be successful because it sends a flood of traffic. Sometimes it will prevent the target to be compromised because the target doesn't have the resource. Target may be overwhelmed by this attack traffic, and the real attack will be missed. No session was created. I'm not sure why. Oh, it is created, but it's very slow. You can see it said no session was created, but actually it was compromised using that single one. It's just that this command line display is behind its action. Okay, so that's the end for this Armitage. Any questions so far? Any questions from the online students? So just pay attention is that here are the two bugs you need to resolve before you can use Armitage. The two bugs is you first need to set the exploit rank to be poor. Secondly, if the find attack operation stuck at some point, then you need to remove that corresponding attack module. Especially this particular one attack module causes the trouble for this database search. So after you solve these two bugs, then you can use Armitage without any problem. Another thing is that for Hail Mary, you may only compromise Metasploitable Linux, because Linux machine is a multi-user server machine, so it can accept many concurrent connections. But Windows XP machine we are doing right here, it has very limited resource. It's single user machine, so if you send a flood of traffic, many of those traffic will be ignored. So Hail Mary may not be successful in compromise this Windows XP machine. Okay, any questions?
This stuff won't be on the final, right?
What?
We won't have no more homework assignments. We just have the final now, right?
Yes, there is no homework anymore. We only have one final exam. So the final exam will cover online password cracking, offline password cracking, Metasploit attack, and Hail Mary. No, not Hail Mary, just Armitage. Yeah. Okay, that's all for today's class, and see you next Monday.